Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, June 11th, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning, we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. We do create multiple hypotheses. We do not know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we set plans in place, call them hypos, call them scenarios. Basically, we're trying to determine what we're going to do based on who takes control after the market opens up. And then we have alternative hypotheses that cover trend type scenarios. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. All right, so looking at yesterday, or Friday, I should say, our main hypothesis was a balancing day, but with the downward skew, cleaning up some of the structure below us. Hypo 2 was a move down into the 2763 and a dip below that to break that weak low and then find buyers and rotate up into the overnight high and push up through to that 86 and a quarter. We talked about getting stuck in that wick from the prior day as a possibility, and that's basically what we got. We got a muted hypo 2. We got a one-tick failed auction down here, and looked like they were going to take it up, and then they come down and put this double bottom. They've been doing that a lot. Remember that the 63.75 is also a double bottom. So they put the double bottom in, and then they go up and break above the IB, and they start moving back, and they looked like they were going to come down and put a neutral day in and see hypo 1 play out, but they put the higher the higher low in at the value area, and then they took off and they broke out, and then they just continued to grind, and then we put this weak high in, and just before I signed off, I said look for them to possibly go up in the ETH session or in Sunday to make a new high. We put a close near the high with the VPOC shifting up into the close. The buyers are still very much in control. We've got a double distribution with the LVN here around the 74, 75 area, and our low overnight was 74. So we're holding in the upper distribution, and we went and tested the key line in the sand. What was the key line in the sand? At 86 and a quarter. This has been moved up now to 2850. But the buyers are in control still, even though we're doing it on low volume. We had rollover on last week. We still continue to see the rollover. The volume should be shifted now to the U contract. Everything I talk about today is going to be on the U contract, the September contract. Now, this is going to be an interesting week. We have a lot of news. First and foremost, we're going to have all the stuff coming out from the G7 summit today in the news. But the big thing is going to be the fact that Trump is in Singapore with for the summit with Kim. He's going to be meeting Kim tomorrow morning one-on-one, and then they'll have a joint session. And then there's going to be a press conference before Trump leaves Singapore. So tomorrow could be somewhat volatile. I think that this whole week is going to be volatile. Taking a look at the news, today we've got the 10-year bond auction. Really not a lot of news today, but tomorrow is the start of the summit. It's also the start of the Fed meeting. We've got CPI at 8:30 Eastern time. Core CPI and CPI That will be a big one as well. 1 o'clock, we've got the 30-year bond auction. 2 p.m., we've got the federal budget. And then Wednesday, is going to get interesting because we're going to get the fallout from the North Korean summit, but we also have PPI in the morning, core PPI at 8:30. 10:30, we've got crude inventories, and then 2 o'clock, of course, we've got the FOMC statement with a possible rate increase, and then we've got the press conference following it. So this is going to be pretty volatile. And then on Thursday, okay, then we get the core retail sales numbers and unemployment claims. Business inventories at 10 o'clock. So again on Thursday, and then Friday, it lightens up a bit. You get the capacity utilization rate at 9:15, industrial production. We've got the University of Michigan consumer sentiment and expectations. So there is going to be a lot of news this week. So just be very diligent with having your stops in place this week. You do not want to get caught on any type of a thrust in either direction, because they could get very big and very nasty. Each morning I like to start my day with a simple candlestick chart. I use a 9 EMA, a 20 SMA. What I'm doing is I'm starting on the monthly and I'm working my way down. I'm looking at where we are in the particular time frame. It's a very basic routine, but it's something that I do every day just to make sure I understand where we are and where we start to challenge trends on the different time frames. And I'm looking for slope and separation, price paralleling the 9. Is it coming down or up to challenge the 9 or challenge the trend? Is it breaking the 9 and the 20 with a possible trend change? You can see beautiful upward trend, challenges it for the last 4 months, and then in June we're starting to see the continuation pattern. We don't even begin to challenge this trend now until we get back into the 2663.75, and we don't even break it until we get into the low 2500s. In the weekly, you can see that we had looked like it was going to roll over, and then they started battling it and they started grinding it, and now we've got a move up and a breakout of this balance, and we've got slope and separation on the weekly, and a continuation pattern happening. Going to the daily, you can see on the daily that after having this symmetrical triangle, the breakout last week, we're getting good slope, good separation, prices paralleling the 9. I'm expecting this to go up and continue the auction, but I expect it to grind higher, barring any major news. Going to the 4-hour, you can see 4-hour, the trend is still very much intact. We challenged it last Thursday, and then they took it back on Friday, and we've got slope and separation going into the RTH session. And last but not least, going into the 30-minute, we gapped down in the Globex, went and tested the mid of the prior Friday day, the double distribution LVN, and bounced from there, came up and closed the gap from the Sunday open and the Friday close, and went and challenged that 86.25, that key line in the sand, and then failed, and we're coming back and we're consolidating in around the close and the VPOC of Friday. So taking a look at the structure, I'm just going to narrate this a little bit so it gives you some context. We consolidate for a while down here in the 2500s, then they gap up, the breakout of this balance, they put in a balance above. Notice that this pattern's happening here too. Okay, we break out of the, let me just fix this. I don't know why that keeps going. This should be cyan. It's not gonna let me change this right now. I don't know where my color palette is. Okay, the value area high that we just broke out of is right here at it was at the 41.75. It's shifted now because I've added these days into the profile, and actually these shouldn't be added, and they should be still there. So we go up and we put in a new all-time high. This new all-time high is an adjusted to the June contract at 28.84, but it's got an unequalized all-time high that was put in the Globex, which is at 28.87 and a quarter. So we have an unequalized high that's typically not left alone. They fall out of balance. The last place they try to hold it is in the lower 2800s. We find buyers below. They come up and they fail at that prior balance area, come down, and then we just been fighting this area, and then we finally break. We come up and we break out, and we put a higher. Somebody say something? We put a higher price acceptance above the breakout, and then we get another move up, and now we have a 3-day balance that is centered around this 71 area, and we've got a weak multi-day high at the 83 that was broken in the Globex. So we are expecting this to continue higher, but coming into the news tomorrow and Wednesday, we might get another balancing day here. So watch the overnight high for that break and a push up into the 91.75 if that happens. The new key line in the sand is 98.75. A break above that, I'm expecting to move into the 2700s again and come up into this 2710, 2711, and eventually coming up with the next big target above at the 2835. If we don't get above the 86 and a quarter and we fall below the 82, look for them first to move back into that 74 area. And if that doesn't hold, move down into the 3-day balance that's down at the 71. Key line in the sand below is at 27.45.50, because it wouldn't be anything for us to come back to the 27.51 area as well. So we have to really watch this 45.75. Below 45.75, then I think we get a move back down into this upper distribution and around the 27.22 area. Something's going wonky with my chart here because this VPOC should be up here, not down here. I'll have to just do a complete data download. I don't want to do it right now because it will take a couple minutes to do. Looking at the overnight inventory, we opened with a gap down. They test the LVN of the double distribution from Friday. They come up and put a slightly higher high, higher low in, and then they rotate up. And we basically, you can see how blunt this upper distribution, this boxiness from Friday. There's no real cortosis. It didn't happen until the closing, where we stole the VPOC into the close. So this whole area was pretty boxy. And what did they do? Leading up into the European session is they just basically traded back and forth trying to determine fair value down here. And then, of course, Europe opened up. They moved up. They accepted that 82 level, pushed through to the 86.50, tested what was the key line in the sand, found some sellers, and they've rotated down. But they're holding value up here. We just did get a VPOC, Globex VPOC shift down, and they're basically inside of this this distribution. There's a LVN here at the prior day high at the 83 and a quarter, and then there's an LVN down here at the 77, but the most important is going to be the 74. So really the most key levels today are going to be 74 and then the 83 and then the 86. We could see some pretty wild swings in between those areas. So just be careful. I do have a trade area here at the 79.50. because we traded that in the Globex as well as fairly decently in the Friday session. But it's going to be all about these three key levels: 86, 83 and a quarter, and 74.50. So what's the hypothesis for the day? Before we do that, I've got to put my levels in. Sorry. Our overnight low is 74. Our overnight high is 86 and a quarter. I'm sorry, 86.50. Our VPOC could shift, but it's currently right now at 81.75. All my other trade zones are already in, so I don't have to worry about that. The daily ATR is running at 25 and a half, 25.51. That's the 20 period full session daily ATR. So based on the overnight low and the overnight high currently, we have range capabilities to go up into the 27.99.50, the daily ATR up target, or down to the 27.61, the daily ATR down target. Now remember, we've got a week high and we got a week low. So we can trade anywhere between these without even expanding the range. So what am I looking at in terms of hypos? Let me get my drawing tool. I'm looking for a open auction in range, in value. I'm looking at a basically traversing the upper distribution. Okay, coming down, taking out the overnight low, pushing down into the HVN of the lower distribution and the value area, basing here, and then pushing up into the high from Friday, chopping, and then breaking out, breaking through the overnight high and pushing up into this 93 to 91.75 to 93.50 is, and then just basically going sideways up here into tomorrow's news. That is hypo 1. Sorry, I'm not very good with these drawing tools. Going to the hypo 2. Hypo 2 is an open auction, again, traversing the upper distribution, getting a false breakout, pushing up, taking out the overnight high, finding sellers, and then rotating down into the 74, chopping here, and then failing, and coming down and testing the 83 and a quarter double bottom, push through into the 61 and then base down here and then rotate back up and close somewhere in around the 71 to 72 in the lower distribution from Friday. That is hypo 2. Hypo 3 is going to be a trend day up. So I just got to bring our upper distribution up. I'm looking for an open test drive. I'm looking for us to break the Friday high, chop here, come down, test the 79.50 area, find buyers, push up into the overnight high, break the overnight high, come back, test it from above, and then get continuation and just grinding up into the 93 base here for a good part of the day, and then get a late day probe up into testing that 2800, pushing through, and then failing at around the 82 to 2802.50 to 2805, and then finding sellers and coming back and closing somewhere between 93 and 99 in this area right here. So that is hypo 3. Hypo 4 is the opposite, and we get a trend day down. I just gotta I'm going to stop using these drawing tools. You guys can just watch the video if you want. Open auction. Okay, push up, take out the overnight high, find sellers, get an impulse wave down to the 74, chop here, fail, push down through to that 63 and a quarter, fail, and then push down into this 52 area and close down here and get basically a trend day down. Those are my four main hypotheses for the day. Sorry, this is just not working for me with these drawing tools. I'm trying to switch back and forth so I can move my cursor. This overnight low is not supposed to be there. So those are my four main hypotheses. Take a quick look at gold. Gold continues to just chop around and hold the 1300s. We dipped again overnight to the 97.80, but didn't come back to the 95.90. And here we are trading in the 1302 area again. The key area to watch is the break above the 1304 and the 1309. Anything above that, I'm looking for the move back up into this balance area right here in around the 1319, 1320. It's all about this holding this 95.90 area. You can see that we've got price acceptance and we're accepting that value, which is right above the most traded price going all the way back to 2008. So as long as we hold this level, eventually we're going to consolidate, get the energy to break out, and likely break to the upside if we hold this 95.90. So I'm still looking for the move up. I was hoping that we were going to get a failure and a move down into this 84 and possibly 73, but it doesn't look like it's coming. But we're still just chopping in this area, and it's very difficult to trade gold when we're in such a tight range because it's very whippy in this tight distribution zone, and we're getting this symmetrical triangle, and we've got to wait for the breakout. Once we break out, we'll go into price discovery, and it'll be a good trade either to the long side or the short side, depending on which way they break out. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.